Hello, everyone. My name is Eric, and we are continuing our interview series with members of Crime Writers of Canada who have been nominated for the Awards of Excellence of 2023. Joining me today is the author Craig H. Bowlsby. How are you today?
Great. Oops, there's a little glitch already. Thanks,
And
Eric. Thanks very much.
Craig was born and raised in Vancouver. His interests have followed many paths. Um, I say that for some people, but it's true, very true with Craig's case. His passions include writing, historical research, fencing, and hockey. The oldest path, fencing, saw Craig winning many local championships, including the Western Canadian Championship in foil 5 times. I think I read somewhere else you've worked on a lot of movies too,
A few, no, I wouldn't say a lot, but yeah.
but bringing your expertise there. As for research, he's largely focused on early hockey history, and his books on hockey won him the 2014 Brian McFarlane Award for Society from the Society of International Hockey Research. Craig has also written articles for the Vancouver Province, Seattle Times, the Hockey News, and the Vancouver Courier. Craig has a BFA in creative writing from UBC and has studied extensively with William Deverell, the celebrated and veteran crime writer. Craig's most recent published piece, Black Tie Murder, presented online in Mystery Tribune, November 2022. And the short story also previously long listed in April 2022 for the Mystery Allingham Short Mystery competition in England. He's also published Boda and the Swarm in Metastellar Science Fiction. Today, we're mostly going to be talking about the crime story he wrote for Mystery Magazine, The Girl Who Was Only 3/4 Dead, which has been nominated by Crime Writers of Canada for Best Crime Short Story, sponsored by Mystery Magazine. Craig, you were nice enough to send me a copy of it. If I called it a mix between noir and cyberpunk, is that an adequate description?
Yeah, I think that's adequate. That's my intentions certainly encompass those things.
Um, I guess it's hard to describe it because it's set in the future. I don't think, did you say what year it is
No,
specific?
I purposely didn't. But
Okay.
I mean, to help you out, I, I guess it's about 18 years in the future.
Oh,
I don't,
wow.
I don't know exactly.
Okay. Just to give everyone an idea of what we're writing about, let's start with, could you describe Deadland?
Well, deadland is that's a slang term given to a government organization or program that helps people by allowing them to commit suicide for short periods of time, not permanently. It's an attempt by the government to help with the social ills of suicide and people who have to or feel that they have to, remove themselves from society or take drugs or whatever. So it's an attempt to help that, and a lot of people do take it, but it's not really that successful.
Yeah, in your case, or in the young woman's case, Suki, she's drawn out a little bit earlier and unfortunately finds her life in probably worse than when she went into Deadland in the first place. For me, it reminded me a lot of Sam Weeb's work in the sense of social commentary that the rich continue to get richer. Unfortunately, the poor continue to get downtrodden upon. And it's set in Vancouver. So did you intentionally put a lot of social commentary in there?
Well, yes. I see what you're saying about the similarities between Sam Weeb's work and the sort of noir world in which his detective walks. Um, Definitely, a lot of what's happening, a lot of the themes that are being portrayed there are based on where society is going, and not necessarily in a good way. It's not necessarily a good path. It's a mini dystopia, I guess you could say, in that respect.
Yeah, it's almost saying like, it's not going to get any better yet anytime soon, unfortunately.
Yeah, I'm
Um,
afraid not.
I saw that Amazon's still alive and well, though.
Yes.
No surprise there, I guess. In your bio, you've written a lot about hockey, and fencing is a very big part of your life. Has any two of those sports ever found their way into your stories?
Well, yes, I wrote a short story that takes place roughly in 1913, and that was published in Eighth Lawn, a sports magazine in the United States. It's about a hockey player who is trying to win this championship, and it's it's kind of about him and his relationship to his stick, because back then they really, they would use the same stick for like 5 to 8 years, and they it had a lot to do with whether they were winning or losing. That's what the story shows.
Um,
And
for,
oh, sorry.
I was going to say, for reference, how long would a hockey player use a stick now?
A couple of games.
Yeah, so a lot has changed. You've studied a lot of hockey in, I don't know what, the golden years, about 100 years ago.
Yeah.
Um, and you've won awards for it. What about that side of hockey draws you to it?
Well, I've always been interested in history, and then how things change through history. And hockey, ice hockey, is such a great example of how things evolved and how they were trying different things and putting them together, how they worked, how they didn't work. And so I was really drawn into that. And just what happened in British Columbia, for instance, where the Patrick brothers started a small league in Nelson, and then they decided to start a real professional league in Vancouver. And the trials and tribulations of that is quite amazing. I mean, in Vancouver, they basically invented the forward pass, which is used today. But it had a really difficult birth, and I'm fascinated by that kind of thing.
On top of that, I can see you've written a lot of science fiction. Now I see you're sort of incorporating science fiction and adding it into mystery, which is quite fascinating and a fun experiment. Is it something you think you'll continue?
Yes. Given that I was successful, at least this time around, maybe I should follow that path. I kind of have an affinity for it, so it might work out. But keep in mind that story is essentially a failure. I mean, I was working on that story for maybe 5 years without success, but polishing it and changing it and revising it, and eventually it got to the point where I guess people liked it. And so the fact that I have an affinity for it doesn't mean it's going to be successful, but I'll keep trying.
Well, it's interesting because you, on top of having to build characters, you have to world build. So
Yeah.
you have to explain all of Vancouver, and have to do that in a short story is quite difficult. And I see even you've evolved our language. To even swearing has changed in your world.
Yeah. Well, you're right. I really did try to show everything, how it would change, and everything does change a little bit. So swearing is certainly a way, an aspect of our existence that does change from time to time. I had a ton more swearing in there, and there was a friend of mine says, you don't need that much, just keep a few of them. And so I thought that was a good point.
Also, in the bio you sent me, you said you've studied with Bill Deverell, an icon in BC. How did you even manage to meet?
Yeah, how did I? I guess it's a bit unlikely, but I was going to take a seminar at UBC that he was offering, but it got canceled. And but I thought, I really need some direction in my writing, because it's not going exactly the way I had hoped. And so I contacted him through UBC and said, look, I still want to get feedback, and I'd like to continue in that way, in a professional relationship that way. And he said, okay, which actually surprised me. And then for several years, I just kept sending him chunks of ultimately 3 different novels, but there was one main novel, and he would give me his feedback on it, and it was very detailed and kind of gritty and very very valuable. So I kept doing that, as long as I was writing the novels.
I know you've self-published a few. The novel you're referring to, is that out in the real world or not yet?
No, the hockey books that I published were self-published.
Mm-hmm.
Well, yeah, they were all self-published, but not my fictional books. No, not yet.
Oh, so they're still just in the boxes behind you?
Some of the hockey books are back there. That's
So we'll have to wait still.
Yeah, I'm afraid so. Yeah.
All right. If there's anything you think you learned from Bill, like a takeaway lesson, is there anything that you can pass on to us?
The secrets? Sure. I guess the main things that stuck with me, and there was quite a number of things, but is the need to eliminate superfluousness and to some extent awkwardness in one's prose. It's really easy to sort of fall into that trap of putting too many words in a sentence, and it's much harder to figure out where to cut it. But as a general rule, if you've got 10 words in a sentence, and if you can cut 1 word out, it's going to improve the sentence. And it's almost magical the way that can work. You get a better sense of the flow almost immediately. If you can tell the same story with fewer words, it often works better. Not always, of course. You might want to have all those words in there just because that is the particular flow that you want. But I always now go through many edits just specifically to make sure that I am tightening up everything, and it seems good.
Well, from what I read, it seems to be working, Craig.
Oh, thank you.
All right. Anything new or any events happening anytime soon that we should know about?
Concerning me, Winona Kent, who is the British Columbia representative for the CWC, just asked me to do a reading in September. I think of this short story, my short story that was shortlisted. Apart from
Word
that,
Vancouver?
Yeah, Word Vancouver. That's it. Yeah.
I'll be there too. I'll see you there, Craig.
Oh, good. And let's see, other events. I can't think of one.
That's all right. Word Vancouver's a big event, so that's a good one to start. All right. We'll leave it at that. I don't have to wish you, or I'll wish you good luck, but we don't have to wait too long. The awards are later this week, so best of luck for that, Craig.
Thank you very much, and I really appreciate you doing these interviews. Thank you very much.
You're welcome. Thank you.